but good things to say. Like, honestly, this is like the hardest point in my life. And I feel like if I didn't have you guys to support me, like, I don't even think I would even gotten this far. So like, I just wanted to just thank you so much for helping me. Like, I have nothing bad to say. I have like nothing bad. So thank you so much.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
If you think about ideas about how we can do better, let us know.
Right. So, I mean, I have some.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really have nothing bad to say as well, but just because, like, just as, I mean, same thing as the last comment, like, just like for me at least, I mean, I would understand. I mean, I know you guys are new, so I mean, the only thing I can think of, I mean, you guys are working on this right now. I mean, the Android app, you know, the Apple phone, I mean, you know, iPhone and everything. I like that you guys are very accessible. And then even if you're not, but you are, you know, you respond daily, like constantly. You follow back up with us instantly. Like, it doesn't matter. You're always contacting us like tremendously, like often, and you know, getting in contact with us, you know, figuring out, you know, making sure we're doing what we're doing, even though we are the ones that really supposed to like be on top of our game. You help us, you know, stay in line, and that's what I love. I can't wait to see you guys improve more and more. It's going to be really big. I wish you guys good luck. It's going to be really big.
That feedback. Yeah. And we got a lot of support when we were going through it, and so we remembered how in the beginning we didn't have the habits in place. So we would like set goals and not follow up on them because we just like didn't know that like we would just forget things. And so now that we're building something that we wish we had when we were going through this journey, we're trying to make sure that at every step of the way we have check-ins with you to make sure that you're feeling confident, that you're doing well, that if you have any questions, we could point you in the right direction and things like that.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is like at a minimum, just getting 1% better every single day. I think is important because I mean we're about to go into 2019, and you know if you get 1% better every day by the end of the year, you're gonna be 37 times better. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't sound like a lot, and really focusing on the things that people don't want to do, like follow up. That's not fun, but it's like extremely important, and it counts. So hearing you say that really touches us, and I'm not able to follow up if it wasn't for these guys following up. So
yeah. And I also want to add that I think it's very easy in the beginning to kind of fall into this pitfall of thinking that you have no value to add and you're taking value, especially when you're starting this journey and you're just new to something. You feel like you have no value to add to others, but in fact, you actually absolutely do. You have value to add to everyone else around you on this call because, like Ruben said, our powers are limited, but all of yours are not. So what you can do that benefits us is if you're 2 weeks in, you can already provide guidance to someone who's just starting out and is figuring out what courses to do. And if everyone starts doing that and helping people at their level, the people who are behind them, then we're actually can build something that helps millions of people and is self-sustainable and scales. So you all are absolutely adding value and helping us just by being there, speaking to each other and giving each other advice.
Even when you feel like you don't know anything, like I think seeing notifications from you all in the app, like get us going in the morning, and like wanting to hear all your problems and figuring out how we could solve them is the best thing in the world. So,
yeah, we got Nana here. Do people know who Nana is?
You guys know who Nana is?
Nah.
No.
Yeah, Nana, introduce yourself. Putting Nana on the spot.
Hello, I'm Nana. I work with Career Karma. I have my own company as well. It's called 8 Heroes, and I'm in charge of all the videos and creating content, filming the interviews that we are doing now through breaking through startups. And I'm really excited to start filming your stories. I have been following each one of you as well, seeing your journey, already writing down the highlights of that journey so we can come up pretty soon and, you know, create the visual stories and share with the world because you guys, each one of you have amazing superpowers, and I'm pretty sure that we will be seeing more and more and more in Spain. I'm really excited. And just one thing, I think
Oh
that
my God. Stop ringing.
I think that
I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting too many calls.
that is okay. That is okay. I think that the beauty of Career Karma is how we have a space that we can actually identify what we don't know. You know, we don't have to know everything to actually be part of the group. We are actually here to learn what we don't know and get the answers together. So those guys just do this to me every day.
I think some people, I'm going to mute some folks, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
And I'm
Sorry.
to be learning from you too.
Yeah, so Nana's going to help. She's an amazing videographer and storyteller. So in 2019, she's going to help us build a strong YouTube channel, and she's going to help capture a lot of your stories and feature them on there. As you're going through the boot camp, as you're facing challenges, struggles, we're going to try to capture that in film, so then when you do break in, we can tell that story to the world and get more people from your towns, from your backgrounds into tech.
Like, if you think about it, nobody has ever documented the story of a company that has served billions of people from the ground up. So we're going to do that. But also, we're going to document, if you want, the stories of you all in the future as you're going through it. And then when you get there, you can look back on it. And also that roadmap can serve as inspiration for other people along the way. Usually biographies and things like that are written after. We're doing it. So it's like, like a reality TV show, except it's not TV. It's like real life.
And it's not fake. It's all real. Yeah. And I also want to make a huge point that, like, right now, we're all sitting here and, like, we're talking about careers for 2019, but just think about where we all be in 5 years, right? All of you are not going to be just entry-level engineers at dope startups and companies. You're going to be mid-level to senior engineers shaping the future and how these products look, how they work, how they feel. And some of you are going to go on to start your own companies. That I think it's important to take a moment to realize that as you're on this path together of learning new skills, make sure you form bonds and you spend the time, you take the time to get to know one another, because you are the future of the next generation of builders.
Yeah, I mean, we were scrolling through the numbers and, like, tech doesn't look like the people in Career Karma community, but over this next year or two, we could actually absolutely change all of that. And for me, the biggest thing that I want to know, at least the first question that I have on my mind, is not what are your goals for 2019, but what do you think are the things? What do you think are the things that will prevent you from hitting your goals in 2019?
Procrastination.
So procrastination. That's a
Okay.
good one. Yep.
Yep. That's a good one.
What else?
Getting this money.
Something like time management, like lack of time management, and just basically that's a big issue for me.
Yeah.
So
Procrastination, time management.
yeah.
Maybe like an emergency that may come up at some point. Like, you know, life happens sometimes.
100%.
What else?
Yeah, I think it's trying to do too much at one time instead of focusing on one or two aspects of your life. You're trying to have too much going on.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. What else? Keep it going.
Lack of focus, lack of being able to sit down, shut up, and shut everybody out. What we gotta do. For me, that's my biggest issue.
Yeah, distractions is big.
You just reminded me also not setting goals. That's a big one for me. If I look back on my life, like I didn't set proper goals.
Yeah.
And that hindered my progress greatly. I just wanted to just add that.
That's a good one. I think also I think a lot of these things related to setting a goal, procrastination, time management, focus. Obviously, there's things that we can control and can't control. I would say the emergency ones are things that we can't control. But when you set this big goal, really breaking it down into that 1% progress goal.
I'm in the middle of breaking my artists in this industry. We're like that close.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's real. So it's like handling multiple things at the same time. So like how can you continue focusing on like getting the artist in, but also focusing on coding and breaking down like what can I do today that gets me 1 to 10% better every day, right? And or like just being consistent about just doing something every day. Like I think Mason she's talked about in another call, just the power of 100 days of code, even if it's like 30 days, every day. I did this today, but like forcing yourself saying, by this time every day, I'm going to tweet what I did today. And I have to have done something, even if it was like a sentence or like do something every single day. I think it's key, and I think time management is difficult. It's not going to just be difficult now when you're learning, but it's going to be difficult forever. So like really learning to love discipline, focus, I think is a key thing, especially because all of you all are visionaries. You all are wanting to code for a reason. And when you have a vision, it's very easy to be all over the place because there's so much that you want to do. But in order to get there, you really need to start small and then forward and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think one thing that will help you tremendously is learn like how do you form habits, because everyone might have a different approach to forming a habit. For some people, it might be doing like a little thing for 21 days. And there's a bunch of studies that say that if you stick to something for 21 days, it goes from something that you kind of you hate doing to something that your body just naturally starts loving to do. And for some people, it might be like being hard on yourself and kind of punishing yourself if you don't hit those milestones. For other people, and Iris Nevins is a great example. She did a workshop a few months ago on setting goals. It's like coming up with a reward for yourself if you do hit the goals for the week. So as you're thinking about 2019, think about like how does Marco or how does Daniel set habits for himself that it works, because that's gonna be able to help you tremendously in 2019 as you're learning how to code, you're doing boot camps, and you're doing things outside your comfort zone.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention that I watch Ruben's stories on Instagram all the time, and they're actually very inspiring. They help me like try to set goals, and it really does. I mean, you give great advice. Everything you guys are doing is exactly what a lot of us have been looking for, to be honest. And there are things that we really can't put into words, like doing this at 9 p.m., for example. Having the option of pair programming, or the connection with the podcast is awesome. I think being very accessible, like the way you guys are, is a major key to all of this, I feel like. You know, some startups, they focus on growth and they end up forgetting about the quality, which really is the human connection between, like, you know, the people that are in charge of the whole thing and the people that are getting into it, you know? Totally. I think we can improve and maybe like for the members to be a little more involved in a sense of like with each other, you know, communication with each other, maybe being able to co-work together and more pair programming.
I like that.
Yeah, those are all great suggestions.
We're also coming up with some content on time management and like instructional short content that can help you guys, you know, more, I would say, tangible way, you know, that you can watch and actually like start executing right away after watching the video. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What are some ways that you want to collaborate more and with each other? Or as you're thinking about things, I know you said pair programming. Are there any other?
Yeah. So there's something that I do sometimes with other people, which is something called co-working, which is when we're on Zoom and we're all doing our own thing, and we'll check up on each other every 20 minutes.
I like that.
And then talk about what we're working on. I think that'd be awesome.
Nice.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Definitely.
How did you discover co-working? Was it in a forum, in a community? Was a bunch of
people? I actually learned about this with Moms Can Code. So in order to dedicate an hour a day, we would pick an hour, like something that works for everybody for the group. And say if a certain hour of the day works for a few people, maybe another hour would work for another few people, and they would pair up, and then like it would be like maybe 4 people, and they would spend an hour, and then every 20 minutes they would go back to each other and make sure that, you know, focus on what we're working on, talk about a little bit, you know, the projects and things like that. And we would have 20 minutes to ourselves to work on our project. And we'll go back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We're definitely gonna take down notes on this and think about how we can incorporate that into our app.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
As far as like distractions, and I know a lot of people talk about time management. What are things that are distracting you, or what do you think is like what contributes to your procrastination?
Social media. It's a big one for me. It's a huge one. Instagram, especially for naming names, you know.
Kids.
Yeah, kids, definitely kids. Juggling, trying to be a parent and get your coat on every day.
Yeah, it's definitely tough.
Yeah, just my computer. I specifically gotten, so I mean I've mainly been a PC guy, but I purchased a Mac Mini just so I can do like all this coding stuff. So I'm trying to get rid of my computer. I mean, but it's still distracting. Like my computer, like because I'm a gamer, I play a lot of games.
Oh yeah. I was a gamer.
But yeah, it's, you know, I'm focusing on coding. I want to, you know, I'm tired of my job right now, so no gaming from me. I uninstall my stuff, but you know, my computer. I do a lot of stuff on my computer. So I read news. I keep up to date with all the texts and stuff like that because I work at retail.
Yeah.
But
Timo's told you guys already about the screen time app. I mean, the screen time setting in your phone. Have you all heard of that?
No.
The what?
Inside of your iPhone, if you have an iPhone, and
there's probably similar apps for Android
no
too.
No shade to anybody that has Android, but like inside of iPhone, if you go to settings, there's a screen time section, and it'll literally show you how much time you're using on different apps, and it's actually pretty alarming. I still am pretty bad, and so I think what's cool about it is you could actually limit the amount of time that you put in different apps, and you could actually monitor it with each other. There was a time when all of us were actually sharing our screen time updates every single day with each other to hold ourselves accountable to a certain amount of time on different apps. And we found that's a good way to be aware of what the problem is with respect to social media and how much time you're actually wasting on there or using positively. It depends on how you're using it. And Nana always talks about how awareness comes before improvement. And so being aware of what the problem is important if you're trying to solve it. So.
Yeah, I'm also going to complement with one thing that is like what type of, I would say, skills we can develop to retrain what the information we are giving to our brain. So for example, instead of saying, I'm not going to play video game, because what you are actually telling yourself is that you will have to play video games. So you can say, okay, so I will play video game at 5 p.m. What I'm going to do before that, you know, or if I'm going to use social media, instead of saying I'm not going to use social media, I'm not going to open my Instagram, you have to say, okay, I'll open my Instagram from 7 to 10 or 8 a.m. to 10. And then during my day, this is what I'm going to do. You know, just some things that is important that will trigger your brain into actually acting to what you want to do.
Yeah, and I want to read the comment. So someone in the comments asked, so it's cool, like we can limit the apps, but what do the parents in the group do? What do they do to find a balance between taking care of kids and playing with them, and then also finding the time to code?
Yeah, so obviously asking for help is the biggest thing for me. So say if I need to find some time in the day, I would ask my husband for help. If not, I would wait until they fall asleep and, you know, just work at, you know, after 9. I think that time really works for a lot of us, obviously, since we're meeting up around that time. But yeah, I mean, I try sometimes to sneak in an hour in the morning as well. But I don't beat myself up about it. I think when, us parents feel guilty about not doing everything, and sometimes you just have to give yourself a break, and it's okay.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to not just not beat yourself up for it, but also to kind of realize what are these sacrifices buying you. So if you might be sacrificing 2 or 3 hours of playtime over the next 6 months, but over the next 10 years, you're just going to be able to buy back that time by having a job that gives you flexible hours, or by having a job that pays you well so you don't have to work 2 jobs. So I think putting it in perspective of what happens, or like how are you going to be a person who's going to have more time to spend with your parents, and how do you set yourself up for that once you get to your milestone and a new career in 2019.
Yeah, but I think I think there's a lot of things we could do like to help ourselves stick to the goal. But I just wanted to kind of point out that we're all here together. There's like almost 25 of us on this call, and just if you look around the room, around the Zoom call, there's people that a year ago, I bet a lot of you didn't even have this goal on your radar to become a software engineer, and now all of you are going to become software engineers in 2019. And I think just realizing that all of you have a lot of there's tons of unique things about you, and just try to get to know each other more and leverage the community to keep yourself on track. I think the way that Timo, Ruben, and I kept ourselves motivating is by using kind of for example, when I was like struggling with some coding stuff, I would go to Timo and ask for help, or if I needed help with something else, I would go to Ruben. So basically, try to get to know people on this call and people in your peer circles, and find ways to do co-working together, to do pair programming, do more things together. And that's going to help ensure that 2019 you hit your goal and you become an engineer. But
yeah, I think I got that same type of goal. I need to get involved with with y'all folks. What's up, folks? My folks.
Yeah,
going. Holla at me.
Definitely post up, and we have so many interesting people in our community. So just try to make a little note about yourself in the group, and then when you see someone else maybe they're also a parent, maybe they're a veteran, kind of just you identify with their story, reply, maybe direct message them, and this should help you kind of establish more closer bonds. Yeah. And then on our side, on the tech side, we'll make sure that the next set of features we release is going to enable you to discover other people and connect with them and make it easier to schedule things. So that's something else we're going to take as Career Karma to make sure that you guys have the place where a place to meet and a place to schedule calls.
Yeah. What are some subjects that we haven't covered in 2018 that you wish we would have covered, or that you want us to cover in 2019?
I would really like to know a little bit more about you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
My
I think to your point, I think we haven't talked as much. We haven't been interviewed by as many people, and we would love to do that. I think for 2019, I think we're gonna.
Let me book y'all. I got radio stations for y'all. What's up?
I'm down.
Holla at me.
Yeah,
let's do it.
And Nana, being a storyteller and a videographer, she's actually helping to create kind of like a daily, like a weekly episodes that we can release about our team. So you'll get a window in what does it take to actually build a community and build Career Karma, and you can follow us. And then
I'll put a tour together for y'all. What's up?
Let's do it. I think to your point, I think radio and television is important just because most people still that we're trying to reach are still consumed in that way. So let's definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I launched my new radio show April 2019. My co-host is Walt from Black Ink.
That's perfect timing because that'll be right after demo day. We'll raise our seed round.
Yeah, but I've been doing radio for the past 7 years, so my connections is crazy.
Yes.
Nice.
Like, as you can see, my phone blowing up. Like, I gotta answer these people.
I remember our conversation. I'm excited. We'll definitely do it.
Yeah, for sure. I wanna ask people. So in terms of 2019, what are some sacrifices that you're willing to make to get to your dream career?
Well, I want to jump in and say what I was going to say before I forget, because I had like something to say like 10 questions ago.
Go for it.
So one, I think something that may come up for people that tends to keep coming up is definitely doubt that may hinder people in 2019. And I think tying that into things that the community could do better. One, if there's a way that your Twitter stream could be inside the app, that way we don't have to log into Twitter and get distracted by everything else that's going on in Twitter just to get to your account.
Filtered tweets straight from us.
That'll be helpful. So like even when you guys like message articles and things and inspiration inside the app, if we don't catch it right away, we kind of miss it when other people say things. So if there was a way to kind of streamline that inspiration, I saw the picture about like the salaries of like starting engineers. So things like that to help people who do struggle with doubt about this because they are starting something new. It is completely unfamiliar and they're like, oh my gosh, like I can't do any of this. But when we see that inspiration, it's like, no, if other people are doing it, it's feasible.
Love that. Love that.
Keep that going.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I was gonna say what Angelique was talking about. I've seen that added onto like a newsletter through our emails with some other group. I think maybe it's possible for you guys to do the same.
Yeah.
With the tweets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could definitely figure out a way how to like highlight the top tweets inside the app.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What else?
I wanted to answer your question about having to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like for me, I have to sacrifice focusing on my music right now as a musician so I could basically dedicate all my attention to this boot camp, right? But I'm looking at it in the sense that, you know, in the future, I'll have more time. So I'm buying time, like you said, right? So I have to wrap my head around that though. Like it's not very easy to, but like you said, it's necessary. So I just wanted to just add that. So that's a major challenge for me right now.
Yeah, I think that's real. I mean, I think you know this because I'm a cellist, so I understand that from a music perspective. But then also, we're pretty serious about our health, and like we go to the gym pretty consistently, but at the same time, not as hard as we normally do. And as far as like our diet is concerned, we definitely like throw it away a lot. We like to always, but the way we see it is like just being serious now and buying the time.
The reason why I'm sorry, you just kind of cut out. I hope I didn't talk.
We didn't hear that last part.
Yeah.
I was just saying that like I understand what you're saying just because I'm a musician as well.
Yeah.
Right. And same thing with us being serious about our health. We haven't been able to be as serious about it as we wanted to. But the way that we see it is like if we build Career Karma to a certain point to where it is self-sustaining, then like we're gonna have more time in the future and more resources to do a lot more related to health, a lot more related to music. If you think about musicians, for example, I've actually thought about this a lot. They usually start with the music first, get like a lot of the resource, and then go into business. I think we're going the opposite, where we start with business and then we'll go back into music and do all the other art stuff.
That's what I'm currently dealing with. I'm a musician, I'm a singer, but I'm doing business now.
If you're a musician, if you start as a musician versus the business first, a lot of time you're in a weaker position because you gotta like beg labels or like kind of build a little bit harder. But if you can still focus on music and have your distribution built through your business, and you can also get the money and the resources and the connections. And then whenever you're ready to drop an album, you can be like Steve Aoki from Benihana and like,
exactly
be famous. You know, you're already good. You got
hold on.
Yeah. Looks like there's a lot of musicians. Maybe we can do like a performance over Zoom.
Do a talent show. we could actually do an album and be on each other's albums.
I like the Zoom talent show 2019.
Yeah. We'll do the background music for Angelique movie.
Yeah, but I also want to kind of point out when it comes to like us and like what we do, we pretty much spend.
The sky is blue, guys.
It's gone. It's gone.
Oh,
it's gone.
So what I'm saying is we basically do like 12 hours a day. We're in this room working on speaking with you all, building our app, figuring out how we're gonna grow and scale. But
these are like we found our passion. We found like what are the things that drive us, and what are the things that we're passionate about to the point where it doesn't feel like we're doing actual work. So our challenge to all of you is find that in 2019 as well. Like in the beginning, you might have to fake it till you make it. Ruben, you talk a lot about how when you were a kid, your mom used to make sure that you go to practice and practice cello, right?
Yeah, it was just like 15 minutes a day. You can cry all you want, but you're not going to leave that chair until you're done.
Yeah, and that's normal. That's normal with working out, like meal plans and all those things. But as long as you can keep doing it, and you just know that eventually you're gonna like it and it's gonna become your passion, that's gonna be a game changer. When you might be working your part-time job, but you can't wait until you get home and finish up your project or finish up building an app, because that's what's driving you. And all of you are gonna get to that point. It's just in the beginning, through those few months when you're just learning the building blocks, you might feel that doubt. But once you actually start building things and seeing things come to life, we've seen that being like the turning point for a lot of people when they just want to keep building more once they get those superpowers.
Yeah, and related to the rewards in the cello, I remember like because I wasn't so good in the beginning, my mom would make these like huge boards that had like 1,000 squares in it and songs down the side that took you like 100 to fill out every single one. And when I filled out the whole board, then I would get a Game Boy or whatever. So it's like, it would take me like 3 months to get it done, but like that was a nice little goal. And I think like similar to Y Combinator, we have 3 months and then we race. I think a forcing function of being like, all right, I'm going to set this goal. After this, I'm going to be able to do that. Or for every hour, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes on social media, or I would give myself 15 minutes on to play my music, right? Or something, 15 minutes to work on my acting, but then I'm going to go back to put in another hour. Like figuring out how you can create those incentives and those goals to balance it until you find a rhythm. You're an artist, right? In the beginning, you play notes, but later on, you're expressing yourself. It's like dance. In the beginning, you're focusing on the steps, but after that, you're just expressing yourself. You're flowing. It's not, you don't even think about it. So it's like Patrick Swayze, Dirty Dancing, right? You don't think about it anymore. And so like that's kind of like in the beginning, it's going to be a little tedious in the beginning when you're starting to learn how to code, but eventually you're going to be like thinking about all kinds of crazy ideas. It's going to turn into Minecraft, and then you'll be like, damn, I got this dope app idea now. You see what I'm saying? So
sacrifice going to the gym to be here tonight.
Yeah, Marco didn't go to the gym.
There we are.
don't use us as an excuse though. Yeah. You can still do push-ups after the call.
Exactly.
I am gonna run afterwards. I am gonna go on a run later.
Yeah, good. Yeah. But how many people? So some of you have been with us for the last couple of like 4 or 5 months. Some have joined in the last week or two. How many people are determined? Like that's one of your 2019 goals is to break into tech and become an engineer. Just curious. By the summer. All right.
That is.
I see a lot of hands. And how many of you? Just curious. How many of you have told your friends and your family that this is your goal? Marco, you're not. Some people have.
You know, research shows that if you don't tell people your goals, you're more likely to accomplish them. So
That's actually the opposite for me, actually, because for me, if I set the goal publicly and I don't hit it, it's very embarrassing for me.
Yeah,
everybody has different ways, like everybody has different styles, which I think is beautiful.
Curious, for the people that have shared it with your friends, what reactions have you gotten from your family or friends about your new career path or your goal to 2019?
Doubt.
My family, she when I'm doing something else, she's constantly telling me, you need to be doing Java, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. So yeah, she's totally on board. If I'm not doing it, she's on my top.
Sounds like a good partner right there.
Yeah.
I respect that. Anybody experience negative energy from their partner? And it's okay.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
It wasn't negative. It wasn't negative to the point where it's like they're not like supportive or anything. It's more like a doubt. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? But as you guys already know, since I've been here for a while, one of the old guys here, when I was at Coding Dojo, and I finished my exam, and I have my certification as a front-end web developer right now. The doubt was there from others because I was up to like 12, 1 in the morning, and then I would sleep, and then I was up at work for 8 hours, and then it was home, take care of the family, cook dinner, and then it was back to coding again. And then it was coding Saturday from morning to night and Sunday from morning to night for me. Wow. Because even with the few doubts, it just pushed me harder because I knew I could do it. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's naysayers with everything people do in life, but you know, you just keep going. I mean, it gets easier. It does get easier.
How many people have seen Pursuit of Happiness?
Yeah.
Like for me, anytime I get in that situation, you know, like when he said he was gonna first become a stockbroker, and his partner was like, "So why not astronaut?" kind of sarcastically, and it really hit your spirit. I don't always think that people, when they express doubt, are doing it because they don't believe in you. A lot of times they do it because they love you. Sometimes they are being negative. But I think it's good that you have your head up, and I think you're a great example to the rest of the community about how to stay positive and continue through it. But I think that as we keep moving forward, try to not take things super to heart, because you're going to show and prove through actions and deeds, and they'll realize it later. It shouldn't be like, I told you so, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's just more like, yeah, like you already knew that, you know, that was just love.
A lot of like our family members are usually the last ones to really notice change because they are so used to us and some of the habits we had before that it's kind of hard to them to see until we actually accomplish and reach the goal. And it's not that, you know, majority of the times they are being negative, as Ruben say. A lot of times they're actually being overprotected, don't want, you know, they have their own doubts sometimes of their own limitations, and they just don't want you to kind of go against your own expectations. But I think that you are pretty dope. Like, you know, Saturday, Sunday, it seems like you have a lot of discipline, self-discipline, which is hard. Majority of people don't have it.
Yeah, I had to because going into software engineer, or coding, which is something that I absolutely love to do, it was it for me. Like 33 years old, got a family. It's like, it's either this. I don't have a plan B. I know how to sing, but I'm not an artist. I'm not dancing. It's this coding, and that's it. And then as of today, I got accepted into Lambda. Switched over from Coding Dojo to Lambda. It seems like they're a lot better. I needed a little more attentiveness. For me, the front end is pretty easy, guys. You just got to stick to it. Because it just gets easier and easier and practicing every day. And then the back end, the servers and the databases gets a little bit tedious, but I mean, it just seems difficult because you don't know right now. But then when you know, then everything is like easy from then on. It just gets better from there.
Yeah, there you go.
No, for sure. And we appreciate you sharing this, like just personal life, like stories. And this is definitely inspiring to everyone else in the community. It's inspiring to us because this shows us that we should keep going too, you know. Mm-hmm. And we're just all vibing on each other's energy and pushing each other to be better selves of ourselves in next year.
Yeah.
So,
are there any other struggles that people are facing? So that we might be able to help with.
So I was gonna ask, how do you deal with like jealousy? Like you have people that kind of give you that negative energy, but a lot of it has to do with jealousy. How do you deal with that?
Ooh, I can answer that one actually. I can answer that one. Okay, so not anyone in my household, but like cousins more so. Jealousy. See?
Yep.
Family, I swear.
Jealousy is usually because I'm spiritual, y'all. Just, I'm just playing. Jealousy is usually because what I've actually learned from experience is usually because the person cannot see your vision and where you're trying to go. So oftentimes what they'll do is put their negative or jealousy or ideas of struggle or worry on you because they can't see further, you know what I mean, than where you're trying to go. But as long as you every day keep envisioning yourself, walking into that door, going to your desk and coding every day, it really doesn't even matter. For me, it was I just ignored the person, not from a negative, malicious standpoint, but more from a humble, I'm gonna stand back and let you stay over there standpoint, because jealousy and things like that with family members can become a distraction. So what you want to do is not necessarily say, hey, I'm not dealing with you, but just shut it down peacefully and then keep moving forward is what I did. Because the last thing I wanted was conflict with that family member, but I also understood that they couldn't see my vision and where I was trying to go and where I'm still going. Because I had a plan of 6 months, but it's taking about a year, and I'm just like, okay, just a detour. But it's not going to stop me because I don't have a plan B. I have plan A, and then I have plan 1A, plan 2A, upon to get plan A done, and that's it.
You don't have to be the tortoise. You don't have to be the hare. You could be the tortoise. And I think what you said related to other people not seeing themselves there, I think you put it way more eloquently than I would have. Where, like, for me, someone told me, haters always try to bring you down because you're so high that they can't see you, right? And then people look at you, and this is something that Jay-Z said, he said, people look at you strange, say you change like you work that hard to stay the same. You're always going to be growing. And a lot of people that you knew in the beginning growing up are inevitably going to look at you differently as you grow. And some of them are going to be like comfortable with that growth. And some of them are going to want you to do the same things that you used to do. But the problem is just like, once you grow to a new level, you can't always do the same things you used to do in order to keep growing. And life is about constant. Like everything that we did to get career karma to this point, we cannot keep doing in order to get to the thousands of users, right? So it's like, we literally have to break our old process and take it to the same level, but this is still career karma, right? So like, to Candace's point, I think just like staying focused on your own race and recognizing everybody has their own path, their own timing, and not being distracted by it, I think is the most important. But it is always difficult because we are human beings and we have emotions.
I would also say that one thing my dad told me one time, he said that nobody throws stones in trees that are not giving fruits. Usually when it comes to family, I always try to have a positive approach because it's family, right? So I would say that if you keep growing your tree, you keep taking care of your tree, eventually those fruits will benefit not only you, but your whole family. And, they will eventually understand, maybe sometimes they are not mature, sometimes they wish they were actually there. But I think when we have, a more positive approach, we ended up inspiring, because between compassion and compassion will always win, with time. As long as you know what you are doing and you keep moving forward, you keep going. Like from my own personal experience, I'm from Brazil. I lost my mom really early, and when I decided to move here when I was 19, my whole family told me that, she will, what is she going to do there? She's going to probably end up selling her body. She's going to probably doing things that, will go against her mom's memory. And I was just like, you guys will understand later. You understand later. And today, all of my cousins, they are in school. I helped them to get to school. I kept going forward, and they are benefiting from those fruits now, So
yeah.
That's what I would say.
And I would also add that sometimes there's people who are jealous of us, but sometimes we're the ones jealous of others. And you may not necessarily identify that feeling, but you might look at someone in career karma, right? And it just seems like they're just learning things faster than you. and you're like, I don't know how the hell they're doing it. Or later on, you might see someone who is getting jobs, and you're struggling every day, and you're not able to get jobs as fast. And you might think to yourself, well, like how are they doing it? Like, what's going on there? And I think it's important to realize that there's a lot of things that we don't know what other people's struggles are, and we don't know how much people are actually working behind the scenes. Or if they're just getting lucky, we just assume that things are easier for them, when in reality, we're all facing the same type of challenges. Because it doesn't matter if, like, you're working 2 jobs and going to a boot camp, or you can just spend 16 hours a day going to a boot camp. You're still gonna feel like it's challenging and you're like drowning. So just realize that it's normal. You're racing against yourself. You're not racing against anyone else. And whenever you do feel it, just pull yourself back and realize that it's totally normal to feel that.
I think one of the things we can look at, because I've been listening to everybody, and sorry I hopped in late, I was trying to figure out something. One of the things that we look at, I'm listening to everybody, and somebody was talking about the hare and the tortoise thing. I've been doing this I've been learning to code since 2005. I dropped it 4 different times. So this is like, as she said, this is it. There is a thing that I learned. I burned the ship. There is no plan B. There's nothing. This is it. That's it. I'm going to die trying, or I'm going to do this. That's it. There's no. Oh, by the way, to make everybody feel nice, I was speaking to Timur. I just passed my technical interview for Flatiron. And I hate them because they coded the problem wrong on purpose. But let's not go into that. So a lot of us, we are going places. It's perspective. I mean, if you read enough, you will learn that some people get where they start off 25, 20, 19. Some people, dude who ran KFC never became a billionaire until he was 65.
Yeah.
That thing popped in my head. I'm like, okay, so you keep going.
Exactly.
You have
successful people never stop.
Exactly. You have one dream. You have a dream. You have one life. You don't get a do-over. You don't get a second chance. The people around you, friends, family, they may envy you. They may not understand. Here's the problem. Everybody operates from a position of knowledge. So if I know this, I'm going to try to keep you safe. That is what family does. You're going to have to understand that some days you're just going to do something else, and you're not going to get it until it hatches. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
So,
1,000%.
because some people in my family still don't get why I code. And I'm like, they're like, you used to be a good teacher. I'm like, I like it. I loved it. It doesn't pay enough. And I don't like people that much anymore.
I love the example you brought up about during the Thinkful call. We had, what did he say? The founder of McDonald's started McDonald's at 52 years old.
Yeah.
So, you guys, I just, about 2 months ago, this was an idea. It was an idea. It wasn't an action. It wasn't any movement. It was an idea. Somehow, some way, Timur slipped in my inbox.
He does that. He does a lot of that.
And I end up meeting him, and I end up meeting Ruben. Ruben, you became like a vocal inspiration for me to let me know that it's possible movement with this idea. Timur, you became a fire. You wouldn't let me be stagnant. You made me make a choice. You didn't make me make a choice, but you made me make a choice. And then you asked suggestions, and we suggested about getting Lambda, getting one of the CEOs of the schools on there, and Lambda was the first one.
Yeah.
I shout out to Ruben about my situation. Ruben suggested Lambda. That suggestion and him being on there, that lit fire under me. I still got stagnant. Timur told me, listen, even though you going through the prep course, still apply. Set up an interview and see what happens. I set up the interview. They never got back to me. I end up having to send an email to Karen. Come to find out, they didn't put more dates on their calendar. So she put more dates on the calendar. I got the interview. I passed the interview.
That's big, man.
I put in a financial plan for. I didn't think I was going to get accepted because, again, where I come from, my background, I got accepted financially. They're going to pay for my education.
Hey.
So now I'm just working my way through JavaScript, and then Timor, here you go again. Breaking down code and things. I told you, literally, I was on my whiteboard breaking down Java, and I turn on breaking down code, and you breaking down the same thing. If this is not a godsend, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Like, this is the perfect timing for me. I'm hurt. I'm out of work. I got a means of financially being able to provide for myself while I'm in school. Timor slipped in my box. You guys are motivation. You reach out to me. Like LeVar said, you guys follow up with us instead of us following up with you. It's supposed to be our job, but you guys are making it your job, which is making it more my job now to follow up with myself. I mean, you guys are a godsend. I can't say no more. I mean, I didn't meet two of you until I saw two of them, which was Timor and his brother. But I realized he's a real person. It's just not a mirror image. But
too.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Honestly, you guys are awesome. And you're changing my life. You're stretching my mind. You're making me think beyond where I come from and the type of mentality of the people where I come from.
I appreciate you.
And I can see myself doing better. And now I'm starting school in March. I mean, awesome. The sky's the limit.
Yep.
And you're a blessing. I mean, everybody here on this call is a blessing. I don't know if you're comfortable with it, of your situation, but if you could share a little bit about your situation, if you want to, so people know what you're overcoming, because it's inspiring to me. And like, I'm a little emotional just hearing that, so I think that'll be good.
Well,
okay,
I mean, right now I was working in the culinary field. I was working as a cook, and I got hurt. And I got set down. And in that time of being set down, I started looking around to see what was going on, how I can change my life. But a little background information: I have 8 children. 4 of them grown, 4 of them under 17. I got bad credit. I live in a rough neighborhood, and you know, I didn't see a way out. I didn't see what my next step was. I didn't know what my next step was. I know I couldn't go back into the culinary field because I'm hurt, and I don't want to hurt myself like that again. Mm-hmm. And here I go. I explained my situation to Ruben, and like I said, Ruben suggested Lambda for me because I knew that I didn't have the money to pay for school. I knew I didn't have the credit to be able to get a loan for school. Mm-hmm. And Lambda accepted me. They accepted me, and they made a possibility for me. Like I said, the mindset of the people where I come from, it's a bubble. It's a bubble. And if you don't get out of that bubble, you're stuck in it. And you're stuck in a perpetual cycle where you'll be trying to catch up with the Joneses instead of making your life better. Yeah. And with Timor pushing me, and with Ruben give me that vocal motivation, it allowed me to be able to see that I can do this. I can actually do that. I can become not say somebody, because I am somebody, but I can become more than what I thought I could be.
Oh, 100%.
Yep. Thank you for sharing.
Like I don't have a way out. Like you two said, I don't have a way out. Like Candace and Narujino.
Yeah, Juice.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, like you, there is no plan B for me. This is the only way, and I'm going to do it. I've been learning. I've been sitting at my computer. I've been focusing every day, busting my brain with this JavaScript, and I'm just going to get it. I start school in March, and this is my way out. That's it.
Everybody's saying there's no plan B, there's only plan A. I don't know if you all have seen Will Smith's wisdom video, but I'm going to send it to you all. Also, I know I brought up Pursuit of Happiness before, but he talks about exactly that. He was like, maybe bigger than you, or faster than you, or stronger than you. If you put both of us on a treadmill, I will die before I get off that treadmill.
Yep, that's exactly where we're at.
You're damn right. Collapse lungs and all. I'm pushing all the way through.
even when you saw, oh, I don't have a way out, you were able to see the light. And I think the fact that you are using, the ground bottom to actually as a foundation to build your life up to that, because you are definitely seeing the light, is beautiful, amazing, inspiring. And I'm super excited. I think you are probably gonna, go beyond. Sky is not the limit for you, because you're probably gonna be, one of you will be building spaceships that will take us beyond the sky. So,
yeah. I think it's also important to realize that, like, throughout this whole time before even Ruben spoke to you, like, it's easy for us to doubt and be like, there's no way this is true. Or when you're applying for companies, you might doubt and be like, there's no way I'm gonna work at Google, or there's no way I'm gonna get this. But I encourage all of you to have the mindset that it is possible. Believe in what's in front of you and take the chance, because the worst that can happen is you just get rejected, or something doesn't work out and you're back where you started. But if you take the leap, then who knows where you're gonna end up. So whenever you're at that intersection, always remember to take the leap, try it, give it a shot. There's no downside. Yeah.
And there is no back where I started at, Timo, because where I started at is without no skills. After I finish school, I'm gonna have skills, because I'm gonna find something to do somewhere, somehow. If I gotta start it my darn self, I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got 8 kids that are gonna keep that legacy going. I like that. Like, keep it in the family. Yeah. Family businesses are the ones that last the longest. Angelique asked a little bit about Nana's background. I think it's important. The reason why she's always talking about the stories and why a lot of those things resonate with her is because she did come from one of the roughest parts of Brazil that helped her become who she is. For us, she's taught us a lot about soft skill development and mindset and video. I'm not going to talk for her, but I think it'd be good for her to kind of briefly talk about where she grew up, because it's an area where if you go there, you usually don't leave. Not because it's good. You can't even get in just because it's that rough. It's worse than any hood here in the U.S. So she comes from an organizer background. She was following the Breaking Starters movement for 2 years before we got connected, and now she's with us. So
I did grow up in Brazil in a favela. I don't know if you guys know what favela means, but the translation is Islam. In a country part, which is even worse, because it would take 10 years to anything get to my city. But I also wanted to learn how to code when I was around 15. I was sending customized MySpace to my friends, and I just recently found out that this was actually coding too. But I ended up following the entrepreneurship path and also creating content, creating experiences. And that was my way out of the hood, through entrepreneurship. And then I did set a goal for myself when I was 14 that I would move to the United States. And then as soon as I turned 18, so everything I did was to get me closer to that. And then as soon as I turned 18, I got a job at was a political party job, which gave me the credentials I needed to get a visa. I specifically prepared myself to get that job because I knew it was the only thing that would give me a visa to move here. It took me 2 years, but then I got the visa. I moved here. I went to New York, Miami, different cities. And then I found out about Silicon Valley, moved to Silicon Valley about 2 years ago. It started I became a stalker of breaking into startups, Ruben, after Seymour, until when I finally got to them, and now we are working together with Career Karma. I'm building my own company to contribute more with Career Karma in each one of you. I'm excited to share more about my journey. You guys feel free to reach me out.
Yeah, she's on Twitter too. So and Nana is being humble. Growing up, she was also a grandmaster in chess in Brazil. Yeah. So she's someone who is not just all about the talk, she's about that action. She was one of the top female players in Brazil, right? And then she also had a book published that's in the library at Stanford and Harvard. from the writing that she did while she lived in Brazil, and
her company was in global Silicon Valley, Google Accelerator. She built Capo Capital's entire platform, which is the largest venture capital firm in Oakland. There's a lot of stuff about this and that
shit. But it also goes to show that, like, look at how much Donna has done just by being, like, creative. And I'm sure the people that you grew up with, they might have said, like, there's no way it's possible, right? But you're the living proof that you're proving them wrong, that anything's possible. And everything's possible for the people on this call. I think Steve Jobs had a saying that says, this world is built by people no smarter than us. So it's easy to look at companies that we use like Instagram or Facebook, or look at Elon Musk and say that, well, I'm never going to be like them. You are going to be that. You got to work hard, make sacrifices, hustle. And we're excited to see all the things that all of you build over the next decades.
Yeah, and I love what Narendra and Kim said. A lot of people on the call said just around, like, the biggest difference between people that are successful and not successful is not quitting and being consistent. And like, it's like, it doesn't sound very crazy or like super revolutionary, but it's literally just like not stopping and doing something every day consistently.
And I also think one last thing I will say is that I dropped out of school, so I didn't finish school. And of course, this made me have to always work harder and harder and harder. But I will say that a lot of times we feel like we don't belong to those companies. We feel like we, can never be a CEO as any of those other CEOs are. But the truth is that they need us as much as we need them. And, they are also trying to solve problems, like our own problems, and nobody better than us to actually be, take the lead into solving those problems. So there are always a way we can build our own doors, like our own ways to get into those companies. And I think it's amazing because this is what we are doing together now. Like, we don't have to do this alone, just the fact that we have, like, I know that I have other 24 people right now that I can count in. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of also point out, like, how special the timing is. Not just us, all of us being on a call here, and we all come from different backgrounds. We all have the common mission of learning how to code and kind of break into tech. But also just think about kind of the amount of opportunities that's in front of all of us, because we're in a digital age where everything is driven by tech. And even though internet has been around for 20 years, it's still very early days for the online economy, e-commerce. Like, a lot of people kind of discount and dismiss, like, a lot of people say, the best companies have already been built, or like the best ideas have already been implemented, but that's not true. Like,
not even close.
Not even close. Internet only started in the 90s, only 20 years. Like, there's so many new fields in tech that are evolving that all of you getting to tech right now is going to position you to be the next, like, generation of entrepreneurs that will build the next biggest companies and change the way that the world works.
Also just like the access to information that we have versus before. I know we're kind of rambling on this. I mean, you asked a little bit about who we are and how we got here, like the way we met. Like, I had a 2.98 GPA in school. I didn't really know about a lot of these elite, like, positions. And I discovered this investment banking field before tech because everybody wanted to do finance before tech. And I found out about a program called Breaking Into Wall Street that taught me how to do financial modeling online, that allowed me to get access to this information that's only taught at certain schools, to send out 1,900 emails after I got the skills, crash career fairs, and get a job as an investment banker. And once I had that on my resume, everybody thought I was somebody. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that information that I learned, I could have learned in high school. The math wasn't that hard. I could learn it before high school. And similarly, a lot of this information about coding and all these other fields is information that used to be only held in a small number of minds, and now it's available for anybody. And a lot of people are faced with information overload. Now you have, like, podcasts and videos and all these things that you can digest to learn fast and, like, take and use to your own advantage. I think the CEO of Lambda School tweeted recently, he was like, listening to podcasts at 2x speed give you this ridiculous advantage that we had over people in the generation. And with that knowledge combined with your new skills, that you're going to develop over time, you're going to create things that have never been seen before in history. And we can actually do that at an accelerated pace. It doesn't only have to be a small number of companies that do it over and over and over again. Because eventually, the Career Karma ecosystem can fund itself.
Yeah. And what excites me, and I think LeVar was saying it in the chat, is that like there's a large portion of this world that's not online yet. A lot of people are starting to have phones, and think about the power that 4 billion people have of a smartphone. Like, just take a second to acknowledge that they may not have running water, but they'll have a phone that they're streaming internet through a satellite. And now that person could speak to someone else in the world through this device. And all it takes for one of you to create an app that touches 1 billion people is just learning how to code. Because then you can build something that, and I may not be able to solve that problem, Ruben may not be able to solve that problem, but you will. And then you can touch 1 billion people with whatever creation that you create. And this has never been possible in history for someone to be able to do it with very little resources. And even what we're doing with Career Karma, our goal is to reach 1 billion people in the next 10 years. And we're able to, like in the past, we would have had to have millions and millions of dollars. We started this just by knowing how to code. And in April, when we got rejected from Y Combinator, we were just a bunch of guys who quit their jobs. And we just started building an app. Like, we didn't have any funding from investors. We just had some savings that we've piled up since we've moved out to Silicon Valley. And that was the first thing that we started building. And as you start getting success, people around you start noticing that and they want to join in. But you have to be the first one to kind of lead the way. So as you're thinking about 2019, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, but you're also creating a skill set now that you can build whatever. It's a superpower that you can apply to whatever you want.
Muhammad is absolutely right about this Career Karma Mafia like PayPal. People don't know. If people don't know what the PayPal Mafia is, you speaking my language, dog. That's exactly right.
Yeah. That's good stuff right there.
This is the Avengers over here. Yeah.
Career Karma Mafia. I like that.
But we're starting like, you guys are actually part of a movement. Like, the Breaking Startups podcast has been around for 2 years, and we've started helping hundreds of people break in. And you guys are like the early adopters, early members of our community. And you're going to set the culture for the next 10,000, the next 100,000 people. And because of your contributions now, there's going to be millions of people in tech that have never had access before. And we're going to do it together. And that's why the name Career Karma, like, the karma piece is critical, because without you guys, we're not going to be able to get to 1 billion people. Like, so we need you as much as you need us. So I think the best thing you can do for us is just don't quit, give back, and ask questions and ask for help. And we're going to make sure you figure it all out.
And one thing.
Teach one.
Teach one, teach one. And if you think about, like, if there's like close to 400 people that have already been helped so far, and they all become software engineers, those people alone have already, like, collectively are going to be making around like $400 million together alone at that small number. Imagine like 1 billion people that are all making a large amount, but not just the money, the skill set that they have. Instagram was created with 13 people. Like, we talk about this a lot. WhatsApp, only 50 people. Like, on this call, we have more people than the entire Instagram company when they acquired for $1 billion. We could have 2 Instagrams out of this call right here. You see what I'm saying? So, like, just stay focused.
Yeah.
And I think also, as we have the karma piece on Career Karma, it's beautiful seeing how you guys are aware about the 4 billion people, not half of the world who doesn't have internet, and they don't even know that they don't have internet because they don't know what is internet. And the fact that we care, each one of us care about it, and is learning these and getting better to already thinking how we can pass this forward is amazing, because, I can see majority of us came from a diverse background, and it's so good that we have this awareness of, going back and doing something that will help those people to have the access that, like, our ancestors didn't have, and build things that will empower each one of us and have the chance to empower half of the world is amazing.
Yeah. and we're all proud of you. Like a lot of you like have onboarded pretty recently, and we're already seeing you get accepted into these schools and not quitting and listening to our advice and like sticking together. So I think as long as you don't quit and you listen to our guidance, we'll help all of you break into tech in 2019. And then on this call in a year, we're going to be able to look back and see how far we've come. So,
like, I'll just talk about our guidance. So, yeah, for sure. We're going to share our guidance about how you get there, but we're actually going to be listening to all of you for guidance on what we need to build. Because we have ideas, but we need to build something that you want, something that you need that serves your issues. Because your issues are going to be issues shared by a lot of other people. So we are intently listening. We're looking for the notifications so we can get to where you want to go.
And I know there's a few folks who just joined our Android beta app. Can you raise your hand if you downloaded the Android beta app? So we got LeVar, we got, I think, Maysaline, and
I still need my code. That's the only thing I'm waiting on, but it's downloaded.
Ping me. If you guys don't have something, ping me. But that's what we also appreciate your help, is help us launch this Android app. Tell us what's breaking on your phone so we can fix it. And then we'll be able to get the next 1,000 people onto Android within the next few weeks. So you all can help us do that as well.
For sure. And like, shout out to everybody for like taking time on like extra late during holiday time when everybody's just like partying and chilling. Or and like, I think it shows the dedication. And we know it's going to pay off.
And if you guys could do us a huge favor, so we're almost a few days away from January 1st, and so we're all trying to launch new year, new career campaign, and basically just getting more people to start a new career in 2019 in tech. So if after this call you could go on Twitter or Instagram and tweet something using the hashtag New Year, New Career, and then tag Career Karma, we would appreciate that, because then we're going to help reach more people. And then once they see, they're like, oh, I want to learn more about this. And then they'll learn more about Career Karma, and we'll be able to help them.
Yeah, and so I like the feedback about having Twitter feeds inside of the app. We'll figure out different things like that. The reason why we talk about Twitter is just because the tech ecosystem tends to be the main drivers of Twitter, in addition to politicians and a few celebrities. And so to like be seen and like leverage networking, I actually think Twitter is more valuable than things like LinkedIn. So we'll still figure out our way to keep the Career Karma ecosystem like really focused and not distracted, but don't sleep on Twitter. And even if it's to go on there like for that hour to do that tweet, or like that 5 minutes to do that tweet and say 100 days of code, boom, or your new career or whatever.
But it would help us greatly, because then other people can see like the work we're doing, and also other people will find out and discover about us, and then they could join this call in January 1st or January 2nd, and they could be part of the community as well.
Like Y Combinator, all those people, all those investors, they're going to be seeing those tweets, and when they see people that look like you talking the way that you all are talking, they're like, damn, what the hell is something special is happening.
We're starting a movement, so we need all of you to help us back it up.
But I also want to say, like, the progress, we talked about it earlier in the call, but the fact that all of you are in this call tonight, and probably 3-4 months ago, you probably wouldn't have even imagined being on this call tonight, planning out your career transition for 2019. I think is a testament to the progress that you all have made in 2018. So be proud of that. It may not seem like a lot now, but in hindsight, you will see this as like one of the turning points of you actually figuring out what your roadmap looks like. So then you can go out and execute. So pat yourselves on the back and kind of acknowledge that this is a big milestone. You're connecting with other people, and you're determining your career path for the next year, so you can go out and execute. So just
like even
be
right
proud
now,
of that.
even right now, just like the people you're inspiring, in addition to us, like I saw Adam with his baby, like just seeing the example you're setting for her and everybody else. I think that's a really beautiful thing for us, man. So we're excited, and you all are. It seems like you guys understand the vision, which I think is like even a bigger thing for us, because this is not just a mission statement. Like,
for sure. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
We're super excited for 2019 for all of you. you hear from us, we'll call you or text you in peer circles. But thanks again for being part of Career Karma. Yeah. We wouldn't be where we are without all of you. Yeah. And Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Peace.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night. Good night, Nina.
Hey.